everyone, this is Brittany here with your art fill of the week, and this week I am doing some fan art of Lilo and Stitch because the live action just came out this week. And I started this time by doing a composition sketch, which you will have seen in the clip at the beginning, to get an idea of how I wanted to place my characters on this watercolor paper. And I started out by taping this watercolor paper down onto it's a cutting board, but I kind of use it to keep my desk nice and clean from paint and any paint splatters, and it's helpful if I want to take any watercolor painting of my desk, then it's secured onto this cutting pad that I can just set it aside if I need to do some other project on my desk. Next, I went in with a very light drawing pencil. So some of this you probably won't even be able to see in the clip. I kind of got closer for you. And I went in with that light colored pencil and got everything sketched out. And decided to try out some masking fluid for our characters before I went in with the background. And this happened to be a little bit more annoying than just trying not to get the water spilled onto the characters. I don't use masking fluid a lot, so I think I just need more practice with using it correctly and it not becoming annoying once it's dried and you can kind of peel it off. I think I just kind of need more practice with that, because it worked, it was annoying to try and get peeled off. For the background, I kind of did a mixture of wet on wet and just plopping some paint down. I used some green and blue and kind of made almost like a background effect that there were trees behind them, but kind of like in the photos when you can blur the background, kind of is almost like a blurring of trees behind them when I get to the final product. And I am trying to do painting in real time more rather than doing kind of those time-lapse style art videos. So I will include some little segments of music when I don't have something to say specifically about this fan art. background is done, I move on to Stitch after I remove that masking fluid by just using an eraser and a lot of effort to get it off. But it worked well. I have my characters silhouetted out of my background, and if I happen to cover the area in green or blue, it didn't get covered, so it worked out. Now I just happen to have the correct watercolor blues in my Mei Liang watercolor set, which I did a trying out video if you want to check that out. I had a pretty wide palette to use from those watercolors, so I didn't happen to use any other watercolor that I had. I have a set of Winsor and Newton tube colors, but I didn't need to use any other watercolor besides that set, which it's actually really nice that then I don't have to, and I can also mix specific colors I want from that palette that it gives you. So I definitely have been using that set a lot with different illustrations. After Stitch, I move on to Lilo, and getting her skin tone was both difficult and helped by the color palette I had, because I had a pretty wide range of browns that I could work up to being a tanner skin tone. And I did very well this time to make sure things were dry in between the colors I needed to do, like waiting on Stitch to do more when like the blue needed to dry, or especially on Lilo's face before I did the pupils, I needed to make sure her skin tone was dry. So I did accomplish that this time, which if you've kind of watched other watercolor videos I've done, I get super impatient sometimes and I end up with mistakes because I don't wait for things to dry, because watercolor takes a lot longer to dry than my usual acrylic paintings. So here I am doing all of the black and filling in their pupils. Also, because I am trying out a real-time filming of my art videos, please let me know if you like the jump cuts that I do to where I have part of it completed, or if you want to see every portion. The way I do it is I don't film everything so that I have my creative process while not on camera, just to not have that part of every time I'm creating. But let me know in the comments if it's a style you like, if you prefer the time-lapse type of art videos, what you like to see in your art videos you watch. And after waiting, of course, for all the paint to be dry, I went in with a Pigma Micron fine liner to further make my Lilo and Stitch pop out from the page, since they are originally animated characters. I wanted them to actually look animated and kind of follow the style of the original animated film, because I read a lot of the backgrounds were done in like watercolor, just stylistically. So it was kind of fun. I didn't even realize that before even doing this fan art in watercolor, that they actually chose to do a more watercolor style in the original film. And I'm definitely proud of the fact with this fan art that I did draw inspiration from the animated film, but these characters definitely look still in my style, even though they are drawn from the original characters. So I am glad they turned out different and the same, because that's what fan art is. It's not a replication of the characters, it's your style of the characters and your appreciation for the original creation of the characters. As I finish up this drawing, I hope you enjoyed the creation process of my fan art for Lilo and Stitch. If you like art videos, please subscribe to my channel and also like this video if you enjoyed the fan art. I try to post art videos weekly, so I hope to see you in the next video.